Howdy, physics sleuths and inquisitive souls, and welcome yet again to another lecture of Sermon of Sean. Today, excuse me, drain damage from the war. Today, primarily in this video, I'm going to teach you who the Antichrist is and why. And you're going to see everything, so you're going to know. Okay? There's going to be no doubt. As long as you don't think I'm stupid. If you think I'm stupid, I can't help you. Sorry. But as long as you respect my opinions, you're going to be very well satisfied on who the Antichrist is. And I'm going to go into a lot more information as well. This is going to be a really, really hard-hitting lecture. Alright? So we're going to have to get really fueled up on this one. And I'm going to start off saying some things that are probably going to be very unpopular among a lot of people. But if you listen to me and you hear me out and you let me explain my evidence for why, because I always have evidence for everything I say, all right? Very, very rarely do I ever throw something out there and it's just, I just feel I'm hunching. I always got a train of evidence to lead me to where I'm at, okay? So just know that. I don't make shit up. So, I guess we should get into this. It's going to be quite the doozy, my boy. Alright. The first thing I want to talk to you about is I've lived in haunted houses before. Okay? And I've been in many other haunted houses. And I've experienced ghosts. Alright? I've seen them with my own eyes. I felt their touch upon me. Okay? Ghosts are real. It is your soul. Okay? The Bible even talks about ghosts. Okay? I think it's in dream form, whatever, but interpretation. But you have souls. The Bible, all religions tell you have a soul. And that when you die, if God likes you, He takes your soul and puts it somewhere really nice and special as a reward for being a good person. Okay? If He doesn't like you, then all the religions say your soul pretty much ends up in hell. But there's never any explicit definition of where hell is. It's obviously somewhere on earth, so it's mentioned. Like, I think the Quran says that you get pulled down there. It's kind of a little deeper into the earth a little bit. A lot hotter. It feels like you're on fire, like you're being licked by flames. But I don't really think you're actually in fire. I think that's just like the Earth's magnetic field or something is fucking with your ghost energy, and it's very discomforting and very painful and sucks. But if God doesn't like you, He's not going to pull you out of your shitty, hellful situation and put you in heaven because you're an asshole. We don't want assholes in heaven. That's what makes heaven special. There's no assholes like you there. So if you're an asshole, just know. That's the deal. If you're not an asshole, heaven's there for you when you die. Okay? That's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter what God you believe in, even if you believe in God at all. If you're a good person and you do good deeds and you don't lie, God is going to like you. Because these are the qualities God likes, right? And if you're anything else, it doesn't matter if you're the most greatest it doesn't matter if you're the fucking Pope, my man. If you ain't those qualities that God likes, fuck you, you're not invited to the party. That's the deal. Sorry. Alright? So, one of the things then to look at is ghost science, okay? Ghost. What's going on with ghosts? I've tried to conquer ghosts a long time ago. I think I did a pretty good job digging into it along my older episodes. Definitely didn't hit rock bottom yet. There's a lot of science here that I've yet to discover. The most crucial science, probably the ones God definitely wants to keep from me because He doesn't want y'all to know about it. So Would it be? The one things I realized is that in all these ghost encounters, I've only seen one that was a male, and it was a poltergeist, okay? And it was in a street that I lived at when I was a child. And I've seen the ghost. I saw it. My sister saw the ghost. It's real. It's a real ghost, okay? We saw it. But we didn't experience the poltergeist part, like the people that lived there before they, were forced to move away because it was so violent, all right? That was a male ghost, okay? It would even try and rape the little girl. And that's what a lot of poltergeist is. They have a little girl that's involved in a lot of poltergeist hauntings because the male ghost gets horny. He wants to fuck the little girl, but he can't. And so it gets all violent, trying to do things like scratch and fucking hold her down and trying to fuck her, but he can't because he has no dick. Right? It's poltergeist, okay? Rare haunting. Most hauntings you'll find are going to be female, all right? It's just the way it is. For some reason, girls tend to be left behind as ghosts on the earth and hell, and they're not invited to the party of heaven. Now, you can say, well, maybe that's just statistics or coming into play or blah, 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 whatever. No, it's because women are generally inferior to men in every possible way. I'm sorry, it's sad but true. It's written in the Bible, and every religion has this embedded into the structure of their religion. Okay, even though it's been suppressed through centuries, especially the last century of feminism we're going through right now, this final uptick of it. But that's the deal, and there's reasons for this. Okay, first of all, when God is making Adam, He makes Eve from Adam. So He doesn't make her alone. He doesn't form Eve to make sure she's a perfect being. He does a clone of a clone. He copies it from Adam's. And all I can say is that because Adam has X chromosomes and Y chromosomes, I believe that this is what led to the flaw of women being inferior to men. Because I believe when God created humans, or Adam, the first man, which technically I believe Adam was the first Jew. Really, the first man was a long, long time ago. Long time ago. I want to be real specific about it. Okay? But what he did is, okay, here's also something, like I said, all the religions say this shit. Here's in the Bible, dude. And the gospel, Thomas, it's a valid gospel. Everybody knows Thomas was Jesus' disciple. Everybody knows this is a valid gospel. But they refute this gospel because at the very end, there's these two lines that are written on it. And they believe that they're written at a different time, like as a different ink, so it's very possible that maybe Thomas added this on later on, like a few days later, a few weeks, or a few months later, or maybe they claim it was added on centuries later by someone unrelated who did not know what they were talking about. That's why we have to reject it. But here's the lines that why you don't hear about the gospel of Thomas in the Bible. It's these two lines right here. And Simon Peter said to them, Mary should leave us, because women aren't worthy of life. He means the life after in heaven. That's what he's talking about. And Jesus said, look, I am to make her a man. So I'm going to change her soul and make it like a man so she's worthy to enter heaven. So that she may become a living spirit too, equal to you men. Because every woman who makes herself manly will enter the kingdom of heaven. So, Jesus is basically saying, I'm going to fix her soul and make it so you can enter heaven, okay? And it took the angels like 20 years of work to do this before she died, when she lived in a cave in a monastery with monks in France, okay? This is when this happened. It happened, though. That's in the Gospel of Mary. All right? So, the question is why? Why is it that women are inferior to men? Okay? I'm not going to just drop fucking piranhas off into the fucking kiddie pool and walk away and let you deal with them. No. I'm going to pull out my fucking phone and I'm going to take pictures and video and recordings, and I'm going to laugh at you and tell jokes, and I'm going to explain why I did it, why I'm doing it. Okay? That's what we're doing. Okay? So, the reason why is the DNA edits that God did to forcibly evolve us from Australopithecus millions of years ago into the enlightened beings we are today, Homo sapiens, human. For whatever reason, the majority of those edits, at least, I can surely say, happened on the Y chromosome, the male chromosome. All right? The chromosomes determine sex, okay? And they come from the sperm, from the father. Either they have sperm with X chromosome, sperm with Y chromosome, okay? For whatever reason, God made the edits that made us more like Him spiritually and mentally. Those edits occurred on the Y chromosome, not on the X chromosome, okay? And I don't know why, because if it was all the X chromosomes, then you could argue, well, then every human would have these. But for reasons beyond us, probably because he was unable to do it because there were complications or things that he was not willing to sacrifice to do that. He had to do it on the Y chromosome. So the majority of the edits that make men superior to women are edits that are on the Y chromosome. Only men have Y chromosomes, never a woman. That's why women are inferior to men, okay? It's a cold, hard, calculated, scientific fact. And it sucks. I get it. If you're a woman, you don't want to be told this. You don't want to be told that you were born inferior simply because your daddy's sperm had an X chromosome in it and not a Y chromosome. I get it. But once again, religion and the Bible, even the Quran, they don't say that men are more valuable than women. Okay? And in fact, the value of women's life has always been more than that of men. Okay? If you have a war, who's the expendable ones that go off to fight in that war and die? It's the men, not the women. Also, the women could do it, but even if they could, female life is more valuable than man in a lot of ways for society. Okay? So it's not that men are better than women. We're just better at certain things. And one of those certain things happens to be our mentality and mental state, which brings us closer to God and what He wants us to be. Sorry. Had to be one of us. Had to be either a man or a woman that's going to be better at fucking this. And it turned out to be men because the DNA edits are on the or the Y chromosome. Alright? If we look, here's a picture. Okay? Look at this shit. Look how huge this chromosome is compared to the Y. Like, this Y is like literally like a fourth the size of this. Maybe that means you have to do 4 times more edits to get the same results if you do the X chromosome, and at least 4 times more complications and problems to arise. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I can tell you is this makes perfect sense and makes me not ever want to doubt it again. It is what it is. Okay? So, the Bible says, women are under men numerous times. Wives, be subordinate to your husbands. And husbands are to the Lord. Okay? So husbands submit to the Lord, women submit to their husbands. Instructs women to learn silence. They have not the authority over a man. Yep. So Timothy, he says, women, I'll let them in church, but they have to shut the fuck up. They can't ever speak. If they have questions, they have to ask their husband after the ceremony, after the service, in private. Okay? We don't allow women to run their fucking mouths in public. Somewhere along the way, this got lost in times of sand. And here we are in this brave new feminist world where all the men hate the world and they want to kill it and kill themselves. And all the women hate the world too, because they aren't getting anything out of it once they get out of that prime sweetness where every man wants to fuck them because they're young and hot. It is what it is. Corinthians mentions the head of a woman is a man. Okay? Colossians advises wives to be subordinate to their husbands. Advises wives to be submission to their husbands, even if they do not obey the word. So, they may be won over by the behavior and their wives. So even if your husband sucks, you need to be nice to him. You need to be a good wife in submission so that he can grow and become the man he needs to be good to God and to be good to his wife. Okay? We all have to play our roles. This is the way it is. Okay? Now, one of the problems with giving women feminism, okay? Feminism is about empowering women. But really, that's bullshit, okay? Really, there's only one power that matters for our species. And one of the sexes have to fucking have it. Both can't have it. Only one can have it, okay? And it is the most powerful thing for our species. It determines whether we go extinct in a generation, or whether we evolve and keep evolving towards enlightened beings, or whether we devolve into fucking animals who just want to do gay fucking orgies all day long. And that is the power of sexual selection. Okay? Now, throughout the majority of history, men held this power in the form of prearranged marriages. Mostly. There was always, because it was never law, but it was culture. So the majority of women were married off when they were young virgins. Men loved it. The women loved it. Children loved it. Parents loved it. Everybody's happy. But women cry. Some women. They want to be able to choose the man they marry. That's what they said. I don't want my father to choose for me. I want to choose. And so after, so many centuries of crying and placating and manipulating men in this way, the men in charge relent. And they say, okay, maybe we're being too harsh by not allowing women to have any say in their partners. Maybe they should. Well, this is the fucking problem. Someone has to make the decision of whether the relationship goes through. Okay? The power of sexual selection. The power of who gets sex and who doesn't. It can't be equal. It can't be 50-50, okay? I can't fucking be the one to have the power of sexual selection when I have to approach you and use all my best pickup lines and placate to you and comfort you and fucking indulge and enlighten and fucking entertain you and hope that you'll agree that maybe I'm worth having sex with. Okay? I don't have that power. You have the fucking power. Women have the power. Okay? The only way men ever had it was in the power of prearranged marriages. And this is why when feminism came to light in the early 19th century, like 1910 or whatever, the very first thing they did once they got suffrage, a right to vote, was attack the prearranged marriages, because that was the ultimate power and they knew it. And as long as men had that power, women had no control or say over anything. And if women had that power, they knew they had the power to do whatever the fuck they wanted. It was only a matter of time. And so, the people in charge gave up on this power and they gave it to the women. And now we live in a feminist culture, okay? We live in a matriarchy, not a patriarchy. I know feminist horrors will fucking go on and on about, but the gender wage gap and all the CEOs are women, and why isn't there a female president? They'll never stop crying and bitching and trying to manipulate. That's what they fucking do, and it's like God hates them. It is what it is. They're not invited to the after party. Know who's on the list. Okay? So even though women will pretend that we live in a patriarchy, know this. There is not one fucking right that a man has that a woman doesn't. But there are many rights that women have that men don't. Rights like they don't have to sign up for selective service to be included into the draft, and yet they still get a right to fucking vote. Rights like, oh, if we get divorced, I clearly just get the house, the car, and the kids, and I get alimony, and I still get half of the dude's fucking life savings, and I get his fucking pension and retirement, even though we're only married for a couple years. Because fuck you. Because women have all the power, and you have been played, my son. Okay? But the biggest power is that of sexual selection. Okay? And women will say, well, we just want to be whores like men, because men will just choose to be whores. But when men had the power of sexual selection, were they choosing what girl they were going to gangbang that night? Or were they choosing the virgin chaste bride that they wanted to marry, and that was the only person they were ever going to be with their whole lives and have a family with them? Okay? Men and women are not the fucking same. Now, I get it. A lot of douchey dudes out there, especially tall douchey dudes that are products of feminism society they've been raised in. And because they are invited to all the gangbangs and all the women, because they're the one attribute women love, tall, that's it. That's all it comes down to. It doesn't matter what you are, as long as you're tall, there's always going to be a line of girls lining up to pitch you in the gangbang queue for them. It's the deal. That's the fucking fact. Okay? But just know that women will manipulate you, and they'll say shit like, well, you do it. Bitch, if I had my fucking choice, I want a virgin fucking bride. I don't want to fucking be in a gangbang queue for some used out, blown out fucking whore with STDs, that's all fucking fat and ugly and shit. Fuck you. Fuck your feminist gangbangs, okay? I want a virgin chaste bride that has never been touched by any fucking man that I can ravish. And I know when I destroy her pussy for the first time and make her sit in a puddle of her own blood and my jizz, she's going to fall in love. That's the way it fucking works. It's called biology. You don't get a fucking choice. Just like you don't get a choice when you're hungry, you want to fucking eat. It's called biology. It's like when you're tired, you have to sleep. It's called biology. Some things you cannot defeat. And God knows this, which is why he set up the system the way he did, to placate to all the urges that we cannot conquer right now at this time in our evolutionary period. Okay? So, now that we got some of the background, let's start digging into the real fucking shit, okay? One of the many reasons why feminism is wrong is because, of course, it gives women the power of sexual selection. And the only guys they want to fuck are the tallest guys, because those guys are attracted to. And they'll fuck the richest guys only because they want to try and extort as much money out of them. All the other guys, fuck you. Too sad, so bad. Die fucking and sell virgins. Losers. That's the deal with feminism. So what does feminists say? Oh, well, it's not all bad. Just be faggots. Be gay. Just go gay. Have one of you guys take fucking hormones since they're a baby and designate that one, and then he'll look like a girl, put a wig on him, makeup, whatever, and then you all gangbang him. And even though you're all gay faggots, it'll seem like you're having sex with a girl. Ooh. That's the feminist solution to the problem of like 80% of men being considered incels and not having sex in the last year, unless you're married, whatever, which is hardly anybody these days, okay? All right? That's what women say. Just be gay. Animals are gay. Why can't you be fucking gay? Well, that's the problem now, isn't it? Animals are gay. There's a lot of gay homosexual shit in the animal kingdom. But what I want you to remember is that you're not a fucking animal, okay? You're a demigod. You're half animal, half God, okay? Half animal, Australopithecus DNA, half God, fucking around re-engineered DNA, okay? Mix the two together, you become a demigod. Not a fucking animal. You're not a fucking animal. You're only half animal. Okay? And so when you try and lean in to those animal urges like fucking, fighting, and feasting, that's called sin. Because God's like, listen, man, I made you, unlike the animals, to be more like a god. because I want to reward you and make you a full-blown god. But I can't do that if all you want to do with this hyper-intelligence of a god that I gave you in an animal body is to lean in and to pretend to be a fucking animal again. All because this dumb bitch tells you that she's not going to invite you to the gangbang queue to fuck her, so you got to all be gay. Okay? Do you understand how you've been played by fucking feminism, the most destructive force in our species, giving the power of sexual selection to women? Okay? I've already discussed in previous lectures the works of Unwin, how he literally went into every single fucking major culture or fucking, empire throughout all of human history and found the exact same story played out over and over again. They start off very conservative and religious, and God blesses them, and they grow to a big empire. Then over centuries of whatever, they become liberal and start listening to women and give women the power of sexual selection, become a matriarch feminist society, and within 100 years they all dissolve away into nothing because God doesn't support them, and they cannibalize themselves, because that's where feminism leads you. Hate to break your fucking heart, animals don't do too well. And when you lean in and pretend to be a fucking animal, you share their fate. And when you die, you're not invited to the after party. Fuck you. There's no animals in heaven. And fuck you for thinking there would be. There's none. Alright? So, if feminism is so fucking bad, and it's so obvious that all you have to do is look at a history book, but they lie to you. They don't tell you the exact reasons of what led to the downfall, don't they now? But the intelligent man can find it. Unwin found it, and now it's in the 1930s. Okay? So, a video I did a couple weeks ago, I showed you how feminism is Satan, okay? But that's not the whole story, okay? Because there are actually forces that are peddling and pushing feminism on our species relentlessly, okay? And you're going to be fucking amazed to find out how that all went down. And I'm going to teach you everything. Everything. Just be patient and stick with me in this video. I know they're long. I know it sucks. It's like listening to me rant on my own fucking solo podcast, but you don't fucking go to the college and tell the fucking, physics professor, hey, can you trim this down to a 5-minute lecture? I got places to go, man. I want to be here for a fucking hour. Fuck you. It takes an hour to teach you the class. Stay or go. That's the deal. Alright? So, moving on. The biggest force peddling feminism in about the last 20 years, let's say, by far, is the WEF, the World Economic Forum. Okay? Now, I thought that the WF was the Antichrist, okay? And I since have changed my opinion on that. They're just an arm, an extension of the Antichrist. One of the ways he's reaching out, doing his bidding, okay? But the World Economic Forum is 100% the biggest driving force in feminism and wokeism and DEI and faggotism and LGBT gay and all that shit. And it has been for a long fucking time, okay? Look at this. Does not disclose specific dollar amount spent solely on pushing feminism or promoting gender equality. However, the organization actively promotes gender parity as economic necessity, arguing that closing gender gap could add $12 trillion to global GDP. We'll be rich. Just let women have all the power. We'll all be rich. Yeah, that's exactly how it fucking works. Retards, man. Gender Parity Accelerators. WF operates national public-private collaboration platforms designed to close gender gaps in wages. So they endlessly push, look at this, they endlessly push fucking this bullshit narrative that there's a gender pay gap. Like women get paid less doing the same fucking job. And I had women tell me this that I worked with. And I asked them, I was like, how much do you get paid an hour? I mean, fucking, I'm this, GS scale pay, and fucking step. Are you getting paid on a different scale? Like, no, we get paid on the same scale. Then how are you getting fucking less money than me? Well, because it's the gender cap. It averages out. It's not just me. Really, I've yet to find any girl in my life ever who got paid less than a man doing the same fucking job, and the same qualifications, whatever. It's never happened. All right? And in fact, many jobs, like when I worked in college, as a bartender and as a server, the women made like 3 times more money than all the men. It's a fact. They made way more money from tips than men, 100%. But it's one of the ways they manipulate. They try and pretend like there's a huge fucking problem when really there isn't. Okay? The Global Gender Gap Report since 2006. They've been pushing this shit since 2006. And notice, if you look at all the headlines of gender equality pay shit, that's about when it started getting pushed. And that's about when you start hearing women complain and talk about it. There never was a gender pay gap. Well, I mean, maybe back in like the 60s or the 50s, like 80 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure before they passed the law, but I think the law was passed in like 1966 or 7 or something for gender equalities. And if literally anyone pays a woman less and it gets proven in the court of law for the same job, you sue them and make a fuck ton of money. So it doesn't, even though there's law and you can sue and make $1 million if they do it, they talk about it like it's done every day, all day long with every girl throughout their whole lives. It's fucking manipulation. It's feminist tactics. Okay? Target initiatives. WF collaborates with 350 organizations on initiatives like Reskilling Revolution to provide better economic opportunities for women. Yeah. So this word collaborates means they give them a fuck ton of money to do their bidding. Like games. Like all the games are faggot and DI woke shit now. Why? The game knows they're going to fucking flop if they do it. But it doesn't matter because the WF says, fuck it, we'll give you $20 million if you push this shit in your game. So even if it flops, you still made more money than if you wouldn't have. Than if it would have been a hit. Because you're not going to make that much money. That's how fucking deep this rabbit hole goes, man. It's fucking sick when you think about it. Research focus. Oh, so they pay scientists to find statistical anomalies and, manipulate that and make it look like a molehill's a mountain. Aimed at closing the women's health gap. Oh, now there's a health gap, too. Even though women live longer than men, now there's a health gap, too. Wow. It's fucking just never ends, huh? So, while not a direct funding amount, the WF estimates that to reach their global gender parity by 2030, a collective investment of $360 billion for a year is required. So, you want to know how much money they're spending to peddle feminism and to make our society feminist as possible? There it is right there. Roughly, they're aiming to spend $360 billion every fucking year. That's a lot of fucking money. And I'd be like, well, how did they make this much money in the first place? You don't understand, dude. These guys run the world like Monopoly, okay? There's a famous quote from like the Wolf of Wall Street where he's like, nobody knows what the market's going to do. Nobody fucking knows, especially the experts. The reason why is because since the early 80s, you've had the WF has been buying up all the stocks in the market. Their performance hitters, all the S&P 500 stocks, everything. You look at a BlackRock, Vanguard, they own like more than half of all of it. And so they own half of the fucking stock market that moves every single day. They run the market, okay? If there's a stock, like, let's say Disney, pumping out lots of faggot gay shit, to the kids, and people aren't like it, so they're dumping the stock. What does the WF do? They pump up the stock anyways, and they make money off it because they own so much. They move the market. They manipulate the market with every move and play they do because they own so much of it. That's why stocks that you were sure were going to crumble all of a sudden shot up and made a bunch of money. It's stocks that you were sure were going to shoot up because they were the ones, like Rumble, everybody wants to invest in. They don't move. It's all the WF's fucking finagling with this shit, okay? It's how they rule the fucking world, is through the fucking stocks and the banking industries, okay? So just know that is one of the arms of the Antichrist, okay? And I'm going to tell you who the Antichrist is. Stick with me, boy. Stick with me, all right? So we're at that point now where shit's about to get kind of cray-cray. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, whoa, what the fuck, Sean? Now it's going to get cray? Now it's going to start getting crazy? Yeah. Buckle up, Buttercup. We're going on a fucking ride in this rabbit hole. Okay? So, 1947. After America won the Second War, we, started developing nukes and kept all the nukes in like Roswell, New Mexico, for whatever reason. Aliens came there, checking it out, whatever. Lightning storm happens, zapped one of the alien spaceships, and crashed. Okay, these aliens are angels by our Lord. Okay, I know a bunch of fucking retards are like, oh, but aliens are demons. They're like reptilians and they claw at you. Like, fuck you, dude. You're telling me these aliens have the power to transverse time and space itself across the fucking galaxy, and they came here to terrorize you by fucking clawing you at night when you sleep? Fuck you! You're an idiot! You don't know what you're talking about. They're not fucking demons, dude. I've seen them. They're angels. The fucking angels, They are the Lord's lowest tier of angels. The gray aliens. Okay? That's what they are. When you talk about Ezekiel and seeing the angels fly around at night and shit, he's describing a spaceship, okay? All the religions, especially Hinduism, they tell you the gods all fly around in spaceships and they go to their planets and back to Earth and whatnot and do their business here and then go back to their abode. This has been known for fucking ever. But for some reason, and I think because the Antichrist has been peddling this bullshit, people don't even recognize the face of their own God. They will see miraculous things happen, like angels descending from the sky, abducting them, telling them this, that, whatever, and then convince themselves that it was demons. Because, but I was scared, and God wouldn't scare me. Fuck you! Every single fucking time someone saw an angel in the Bible, it says, and the angel's first thing it says, do not be scared. I will not hurt you. Because they're scared as shit. They're fucking terrified. When Muhammad was in the cave and the two angels were there, two aliens talking to him, he's fucking like crying, having a mental breakdown. Because it's terrifying. Since being in the presence of such a powerful being, when you realize you're so lowly and bullshit. Right? So, crash. Roswell, New Mexico. Kicks off this whole fucking Antichrist event, okay? Because this is the angels of Christ in Roswell, New Mexico that crashed doing their bidding, okay? And,
as we will hear, there are those who
Oh
claim
man,
that
it's not even showing. I might have to do this again. Let's see here. I'll try it one more time. And it still isn't fucking playing, dude. That's so fucking weird.
has been reported.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Read a report of a
That's crazy. Well, anyways, what they're saying, what I wanted you to hear, at least hear this, okay? Sorry you can't see it. I know visuals better for learning, but fucking the CIA hacks this shit.
To be feared, but a mere transition.
Okay.
Document. Find it unbelievable that highly advanced alien beings would allow one of their own to die under the primitive medical care of a species that had barely begun to conquer its own diseases.
So this is from a documentary that came out from a guy named Victor who released an actual videotape of an alien being interrogated at Area 51 that was captured from the crash in South Africa when South Africa had nukes, and then they got rid of the nukes because the aliens told them to get rid of the fucking nukes. That's part of the plan. And so they were like, yes, we'll do it. And then we gave them a bunch of money and blah, blah, blah. We took the aliens with us. But the aliens
But as we will hear,
basically
there
preach.
are those who claim that to the aliens,
They don't tell them what they want to know about technology shit, but they preach to them all the time about the gospel of Jesus and stuff. Does that sound like demons to you? You kidnap them and they preach to you about the gospel of Jesus and love and stuff?
death is not a final end to be feared, but a mere transition.
And that's what the aliens are telling them. They're telling the people as they're interviewing them, listen, man, it doesn't matter if I die here in your fucking custody. It doesn't change anything. Death is death. I'm going to wake up in a new body in heaven. You can't stop that. I'm chosen. You haven't earned it yet. Do you understand? And, you know, the people in charge are like, well, but that means the aliens have superpowers and we don't have it. We're at war. Fucking retards.
It was in the late 40s and early 50s that the U.S. government's policy toward UFOs was formulated. Publicly,
Okay, so it's like 19, I think what it says here is October
which made a great show of
1947.
gathering data on all the major UFO sightings, finally declaring them all to be hoaxes, mass hysteria, or swamp gas. But secretly, there may have been another policy. Over the years, several documents have come to light which seemingly confirm that a clandestine group, Operation Majestic 12 Group, aka MJ-12, was formed by special classified presidential order on September 24th, 1947.
Okay, so September 24th, 1947. Okay? Remember that date. Okay? That's what I wanted you to know. When the aliens happened, the government responded by creating Majestic 12, the government's arm that was going to deal with all this alien technology and this stuff, figure out what's going on, okay? So Roswell crash happens like June 1947. September, they create Majestic 12, okay? To deal with it all right? Now, Majestic 12 is an off-branch. Well, okay, before we go there, first let's go here, okay? We have the Antichrist, okay? The Antichrist is allegedly a character or entity or agency that is knowingly and actively working to undermine God in every way they can. It's kind of the definition of the Antichrist. It's the anti of Jesus. He's trying to counter everything that Jesus is doing, okay? And God's work, because Jesus is doing God's work. The Antichrist, okay? So, the DoD creates Majestic 12 in September. But the problem is, anything that is created by law, you can track the money of. So, what do they do to get around this? So they can fund Majestic 12 to do all this shit. They create what's called the black budget. Okay? And the black budget uses a fund of black projects. Okay? Expenditures do not want to disclose to the public. Annual costs between the department between 30 billion, 20 increased to 50 billion, 29. So this is all money. So we're talking like $50 billion a year that Congress doesn't even know where it goes. All they know is this much went into the black budget, and from there, some mysterious figures through mysterious means disperses that money to wherever they want it to go. And that's it. And it disappears and it's gone forever. That's how they had to fund Majestic 12 to hide everything that's going on. It's with the black budget, okay? So you have to put Majestic 12 in an agency that has access to the black budget. So what do? Okay? Here's some more dark secrets of the black budget, okay? So, what do? They create the Central Intelligence Agency, okay? So, Roswell crash happens June 1947. Majestic 12 created September 1947, okay? But the CIA had been undertaken. The office was abolished in 1945 by Harry Truman, who created the Central Intelligence Group in 1946. Amid the intensifying Cold War, National Secrecy Act in 1947. Okay? Oh, and look at that. It happened on September 18th. So, he creates the CIA as we know it in its incarnation now, with full access to a black budget. Then, a few weeks later, secretly he creates Majestic 12, who's going to operate under the CIA and have full access to that sweet, sweet black budget money to keep everything going. Okay? Do you see the timeline it's establishing here? Okay? The CIA was made so they can have money that nobody knows about. And once the CIA was made as a response to deal with the aliens or the angels coming down, then what happens is they create Majestic 12 to fully take care of everything. Okay? Now, the CIA, if we look at something, I want you to look at something. CIA. CIA. If you look at this now. And T Christ. What do we got? The words or the letters with the syllable, the weight on them are A and T I and then C. So AIC. AIC. What happens if we spell Antichrist backwards and use those same format, those three letters? What do we get? Now we get CIA. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the word Antichrist is kind of almost as an Easter egg cleverly hidden into the very acronym of the CIA. Kind of interesting, no? And you're like, okay, so let's say the CIA is the Antichrist. Why? Well, because they were interrogating these surviving aliens from the crash. There's always one that survived magically. Almost like God wanted one of the angels to survive so that he could talk to the people, the CIA or the Majestic 12, and, give them some knowledge, test them a little bit, whatever, this or that. Okay? So the CIA has these aliens that won't teach them shit about their technology, what they really want to fucking know. But what the aliens will teach them about, they won't shut up about, is religion. Is all the scriptures of all the major fucking religions, how this and that happened, and we sent this guy here, you didn't learn that lesson, and da. They won't shut up, they won't stop preaching the gospel whenever, they do speak. That's what they speak about 90% of the time, allegedly, okay? So, you have these aliens that are coming down saying, listen, all of this religion is true. We created you, and we're not going to let you get too far off the rails, and if you do, we're going to fuck you up. So, the CIA, for whatever reasons, does not buy the alien story that they are with God, and God is benevolent and good for the species of humanity. They believe that humans evolved ourselves independent of God, and the aliens are here just trying to hold us back and to fuck with us as long as possible, to keep us as low as possible for as long as possible, because they don't want any competition. So the CIA thinks, okay? They're like, this is bullshit. There's no God. They just don't want us to have fucking space technology and spaceships like they have, and death rays and lasers that can destroy the whole planet when you get pissed off. That's what they want. Da-da. But, okay. So, the CIA has all these preachy aliens that won't shut up about, the gospel and stuff, okay? So the CIA starts to think, well, these aliens are attacking us, and they're manipulating and subverting us with this religion that's acting like a virus, infecting people and making them waste their lives away, and it's oppressive to women, and blah, 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 blah. So the CIA starts actively seeking to undermine all of the qualities that they know God has, okay? And here is one. Let me see. I don't know if this is going to show or not. I can hope it does, but you never know.
Religion. You saw some other reports that you... Yeah, religious documents.
Okay, let's see if this one will play. And it won't play. They fucked it up now.
Pretty hard to swallow.
It's very hard to swallow.
Saying basically that...
This is Bob Lazar, okay, and they're interviewing him, and he's basically this is the only interview where he talks about the aliens and religion. Every other interview, he does not. I've heard them all. This is the only one, and this is the one that's impossible to find. I could never find this interview. I only found this snippet of it.
Basically, that we're a product of genetic engineering from someone.
Yeah.
Said we're a product of genetic engineering from the aliens.
Yeah, how can you just swallow that whole? Well,
and the Bob's like, that's hard. That's a hard thing to believe.
Can you swallow any of that stuff?
Well, it's easy to swallow things you can put your hands on and touch and work with it, no problem. But when you get into a lot of spiritual stuff and religion,
and there we go. Now you get, but when you get into spiritual stuff and religion, now he's bringing religion into it.
Were made by progressive corrections and evolution and that sort of thing, and where it shoots down a lot of the established religions, Catholicism, and everything that are essentially
religion.
It's a tough thing to accept, why without
Let me just see if I can do this. Curiosity. Oh, this one will play. Okay, good. That's good.
Well, it's easy to swallow things you can put your hands on and touch. Word shoots down a lot of the established religions, Catholicism, and everything. That, you know, essentially it's a tough thing to accept, and, you know, why, without, you know, hardcore proof, why even bring it up?
I guess the question more should deal with that you actually read a report that said this stuff.
Well, yeah, the only hardcore thing is that there is an extremely classified document dealing with religion about that thing.
There is an extremely classified document dealing with religion that is about that thick in Area 51, or was at the time, ran by Majestic 12, that only the top members of Majestic 12 were ever allowed to touch.
Period. But why would there be any classified material dealing with religion?
And Bob's like, but why would there be any classified material dealing with religion? Because religion is real. God is real. The aliens are the angels of God. You've been played by the feminist, my son.
Other kinds of questions.
No, that wasn't the last one.
I want to go back to the religion thing. I want you to say it.
Oh, come on, that's so weird. That's a lot.
I'm not asking you to say what you believe to be a fact. I'm asking you to say what you read in a report that is distributed at what may be the most top secret facility in the world. Okay. All right. Noted.
Okay.
What does it say?
That we're containers. That's how
We're containers.
supposedly the aliens look at us.
We're containers of a soul.
That we are nothing but containers.
Containers of...
Containers. Maybe containers of souls. You can come up with whatever theory you want, but we're
Containers of souls.
containers, and that's how we're mentioned in the document. That religion was specifically created, so we have some rules and regulations for the sole purpose of not damaging the containers.
the soul. Meaning,
Well, the souls or the bodies or whatever. Right? That's
meaning like we're containers for souls that they're going to use at some other point.
right.
And that they had something to do with different prophets and biblical figures.
Yeah.
What?
Well, that supposedly Jesus and two other beings were genetically engineered. They were implanted in people on Earth in biblical times, and their births were closely monitored. Now, just some little connections to that my wife had brought up.
Now, just so you know, he says Jesus and two others were genetically modified. Who were these others? The two others he's speaking of? I don't know. Maybe Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha? Maybe Moses? It's hard to say. It's hard to say who the other two were. But know this. He's not saying, listen, only Christianity is the only valid religion that the aliens say. No. All of the religions created by God are valid, to include Hinduism, Zoroastrian, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. They're all created by the same source. They all do the same thing. Okay? Some just do better than others. Some are older than others. It is what it is.
In the Bible, they said that the star had followed Mary wherever she went, and that all UFO sightings always start out as people, well, gee, that looks like a bright star, and well, in fact, they said in the Bible, the brightest star in the sky followed her where she went, and you just make little connections like that.
Okay.
I don't know what else to touch on about.
We were talking about how.
There you go. So, proof that I'm giving to you that, because I told you, I don't make shit up, okay? I don't make shit up. I always have a source of why I think what I think, Okay, so that's one where we're going, and we're getting revved up now. It's about to get fucking crazy. So the CIA has these preachy aliens talking about religion and obedience to God, how women should be obedient to men, blah, 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 blah. But the CIA don't trust these aliens. They think they're trying to suppress our evolution, and they think that we're awesome. We're amazing. We don't need these fucking aliens holding us back with their rules and religion and stuff. Fuck that shit. So the CIA comes up with a plan where they want to undermine all of the teachings of religion. So, what do they go for? Feminism. They peddle feminism. Okay? It's well known that Gloria Steinem, okay, was a CIA spook. I mean, she may not have worked for the CIA, but they funded everything she did. They funded her magazines, where she aimlessly propped up and peddled feminism, all her appearances, TV stuff. They gave her spotlight like you couldn't dream of, okay, to really kickstart feminism in America. And this was, I don't know, I want to say it's like what? Yeah. CIA's are tip light, but Stone spoke openly about how relationship to the agency in the 1950s and the 60s. So the 1950s, they were doing this, okay? They just formed in 1947, and in just a few years later, they already came up with a game plan on how to combat these preachy, gospel-loving aliens. And that is by destroying religion and peddling feminism to the masses as though it's our savior. Okay? And it didn't just end with us, dude. They did this to everybody. Key aspects of the CIA's involvement. Okay, evidence suggests CIA, particularly during the Cold War, secretly funded, supported various organizers, including liberal, artistic, cultural groups, as part of a broader strategy to counteract Soviet influence and present progressive Americans' image abroad. While not creating feminism itself, the agency aimed to use such movements as soft power. Secretly funding infiltration during the 1950s. So we're in the 50s, man. We're just not even 10 years from when the CIA began, and it's already doing this. It's like its first mission is to create this artificial feminist movement and peddle it to the masses. Okay? The case of Gloria Steinem. Prominent second-wave feminist Gloria Steinem was a former CIA operative who received funding through CIA-backed foundation in her work in the 1950s, though she described them as liberal and far-sighted and aimed with her own goals. So, she described them liberal and far-sighted, meaning they were playing the long game. They weren't playing like the 10-year game. They're like, yo, these aliens are coming one day, and we have to fight this shit, or we're going to get taken over. Okay? So just know, ironically, CIA was described as a macho, male-dominant organization that fiercely resisted women's advancement internally until at least the 1980s. So just know that. They peddled the feminism, but they didn't believe it themselves. They didn't even let women be operatives until the fucking 80s. All right? It's like 30 years later. Fears of manipulation. In 1925, leaders such as Betty Friedan expressed concern CIA had infiltrated women's movement, specifically fearing that it might be acting as an agent provocateur to stir up anti-male sentiment and divide the movement. So you have the CIA that's actively doing everything they can in their power to combat what the preachy aliens want for humanity. Okay? Know that. Know that. Okay? Now, you might be thinking, okay, so the CIA has this plan What exactly is this plan they're trying to, just a peddle feminism, that's it? No, there's a time, okay? Bob Lazar even talks about a date that he was given. He didn't know the exact date, but he knew it was in our lifetime when shit was going down, when the aliens were going to return en masse, and they're going to blow the lid, and everybody's going to know what's going on in our lifetime. I call that the Great Tribulation. We're in the final year of that now, the final 6 months. Putin's nukes are going to hit in about 5 months from now, and it's going to be all GG. And you're like, okay, so in 5 months, I'm going to tell you the exact date when the nukes are going to hit too. Stick with me. I will teach you everything. Forsake all of the bullshit. Listen to me. I swear. Okay? So, what the CIA is saying is they're saying, well, there's going to be this alien mothership. Okay? Now, here, the DoD or Pentagon efforts to investigate unexplained incursions of, was it Amanua? The object that they feared could have been an alien mothership entering our solar system. And the CIA knows that Jesus said, I'm coming back with a fucking mothership. I'm going to show you the actual verses in the Bible. Trust me. I'm not making this shit up. Jesus says, I'm coming back with a mothership. So to conquer the human race and pit it right. So the CIA hears this and they think, the aliens, they're coming back with a mothership because we're resisting and they're going to just fucking invade us. Oh, we have to fucking do whatever we can to stop this. So they invest in all this bullshit technology to try and stop it, blah, blah, blah. Okay? But what did they say? You have some CIA analysts will reveal themselves in 2027, claims a former CIA agent. So you have a CIA agent who's saying, listen, man, I saw top secret shit that says that in 2027, an alien mothership is going to fucking happen. Okay? In 2027, next year. Okay? Now, I say the nukes are going to land in the end of this year. Okay? And then we have, the Bible describes a 5-month-long winter, a nuclear winter that kills 2/3 of the planet after Putin nukes the planet. And when the end of this 5 months is done, God says he'll use the angels, the aliens and their crafts to use the winds and blow away all the radioactive shit and put it somewhere, where it doesn't bother us anymore. And then you're going to have God's mothership, which is the basis for our heaven, is going to arrive. And it's going to float over Jerusalem. Okay? And it's going to be called New Jerusalem. Okay? And here's Jesus talking about it. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. I have a big mothership. If that were not so, I would not have told you I'm going to prepare a place for you. If that were not so, I would not have told you I am going to prepare a place for you. And I go to prepare a place for you, and will come back. To be with you, and that you also will be where I am. And you know the way to the place where I am going. So basically he's saying, be a good person like I taught you. And when I come back with my mothership, we'll resurrect you into a body of an angel, and you will be in heaven. This mothership called New Jerusalem. Okay? And he talks about the mothership. John talks about it in Revelations. Okay? The angel who talked to me held in his hand a gold measuring stick to measure the city. So they're calling this mothership a floating city that travels through the stars. That's what they say in somewhere else in the verse. That's what they call it. A floating city that travels through the stars. So you have a floating city that travels through space. What's that called? What is that called? It's called a spaceship. And if it's a big one, it's a fucking mothership. Okay? And measure its gates as well as its walls. When he measured, he found it was a square, and as wide as it was long. In fact, it was long and width and height were each 1,400 miles. That is a huge mothership. That is like the size of a continent. Okay? That is a spaceship that is like the size of a continent. That's really big. Okay? The walls were made of jasper, and the city was pure gold and clear as glass. The wall of the city was built on the foundation of stones and laid with 12 precious stones. The first was jasper, sapphire, agate, emerald, onyx, cornelian, chrysolite, beryl, topaz, chrysoprase, and jacinth, and amethyst. The 12 gates were made of pearls, and each gate from a single pearl, and the main, wow, one pearl, that's really amazing, that big of a gate, huh? And the main street was pure gold, as clear as glass. I saw no temple in the city, for the Lord Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. And the city has no need for sun or moon, for the glory of God illuminates the city. It's basically got lighting. It's got its own lighting. Whatever you need. And the Lamb is its light, and the nations will walk in the light, and the kings will enter the city from all their glory, and its gates will never be closed at the end of day, because there is no night there. And the nations will bring their glory and honor. Nothing evil will be allowed to enter, nor anyone who practice shameful idolatry and dishonesty, like your gay faggot gangbangs. Feminism is not your friend. You need to learn that if you're a man. And a woman, too. Hate to break your heart. But only those whose names are written in the book of life by the Lamb. Okay? So, we have a giant 1,400-mile square floating city that travels through space. Want to know what it looks like? Something like this, I imagine. A Borg cube. Only much more prettier. Much more beautiful. And, the Borg were a cold, callous, heartless species. God is very loving and, compassionate. In fact, the first verse of every, section of the Quran starts off with Allah, the merciful and gracious. So it is telling you, listen, above all else, know this. Your God is kind, gracious, and courteous, and he loves you. Above all else, that's what you need to know more than anything else. Okay? But you want to know what New Jerusalem is going to be like? Kind of like a Borg cube. Only, extravagant and luxurious and nice and kind and loving. So different. Okay? So, we know that the CIA has revealed that the mothership will be here in 2027. But what is the exact date? Well, that date is going to be 5 months after the nukes drop. So what date did the nukes drop, you're asking me? I think I found out. Let's play. So, here is some writings of Daniel. Okay. Then I heard a saint speaking, and another said to that certain saint which spake, How long should the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation to give both the sanctuary and the host be trodden underfoot? And he said to me, unto 2,300 days. That is like 7 years to the day. Actually, I don't know if it's exactly 7 years. Let's do some math. We are a physics channel after all. So I feel like I would kind of suck if I didn't. Okay, so we got 2,300 divided by 7. Oh no, my bad. That's not what I want to do. I want to do 300 divided by 365. That brings years. Okay, so what it gave us is 6.3 years. Okay, so there's more time. 70 weeks on top of that shall be determined upon the people in the holy city to finish transgression and to make an end of sins, and to bring everlasting righteousness and seal the vision of the prophecy to the most holy. And from that time the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up. There shall be 2,200. Now it's 290 days. So instead of 2,300, it's 2,090 days. Blessed is he that cometh 3,345 days. Okay, so if we add all the time together, it's supposed to be approximately 3 years, give or take a week or two. My bad, 7 years, give or take a week or two. Okay. Now, when it talks about it starts the day that the abomination that maketh desolate set up in the holiest city. Okay, it doesn't say it right here, but other verses says in the holiest city there is an abomination that will be set up of desolation that pisses God off and starts the 7-year tribulation. But it also starts from the time that the seventh angel poured their vial into the air, and through the air it spread, and the voice of the throne said, "It's done." So they both happen at the same time. They both mark the beginning of the 7-year tribulation, is what this is saying. Okay? This is saying that, but the other one says that one as well. So they both. So if they both start it, they have to both be at the exact same time. Okay? So December 2019 is when they say that COVID officially was discovered. But that means it had to have actually been in circulation for a month or two at least before to infect enough people to be noticeable, because COVID was such a mild disease. Nobody really died from COVID. They died from the ventilators they put on them and shit like that, or they died because they were old or fat or unhealthy or had cancer, and then they got COVID. Okay? But just know, it was around December, before December 19, okay? So, what do we know that happened that was set up in the most holy city that was an abomination in the eyes of God? Meaning he was not happy with it at all. And then that starts off the first 3.5 years where there will be no more sacrifices. Okay? Let's say the sacrifices. And the daily sacrifices will be stopped. Okay? And from that time on, the daily sacrifice shall be taken away on that day. Okay? So, what happened? This is what happened. Pope Francis brought in a Pachamama into the Vatican, the most holy city. Okay? Whether you like Catholics or not, they are a denomination of Christianity. They are valid in the eyes of God, and almost every person in the Vatican City that lives there is a priest or a nun or serving God one way or another. Okay? It is by far the most holy city there ever has been. Now, a lot of people think the abomination of desolation refers to the third temple. Whenever that's built, something's going to happen that's going to be nasty. It's going to be set up in the third temple. It's going to be sacrificed, and that's going to piss God off. That's a valid theory until we had the Great Tribulation began, and this all just magically worked out the way it did. And this is the way it is. It is not the third temple that's considered the holiest city. It might be the holiest building, but it's not the holiest city. The holiest city is the Vatican City, by far. And the Pope brought in a Pachamama, a fertility ritual idol from I think South Amazonian tribe, I believe. Not a religion created by God. Not one of the religions created by God. And this is a fuck idol. This is an idol meant to make you horny by looking, oh, look at the fertile breast. Look at that. Oh, look at this shit. Oh, I want to fuck. It's a fuck idol. Meant to make you fertility. Made to want you want to fuck. Have kids. Okay? So, and this happened October 6th through the 27th is when it was brought into the Vatican. And the Pope said, he told Catholics to worship this idol as though it were the hand of God himself, as though it were from God himself. That's what the Pope said. He fucking said that. So, that's the desolation, that's the abomination that began this shit, okay? And then once that kicked off, then like just literally like a month or two later, COVID is running rampant through China, where it then spread through the entire world. All from the false prophet, Dr. Fauci, who worked with the third beast in Revelations, the red dragon of the east, who imposed the 2 marks of the beast, one on the arm, one over the face. It's all there, dude. It's all there. You think I'm bullshitting? I don't bullshit. All right? So, that's the deal. That is the reason why this all started. I mean, not the reason, it's a prophecy. It was just one of the things that had to happen, I guess, and of course it happened. But if we go by that, October 4th through 27th, 2019. Okay? So, 7 years, roughly, almost to the day. 7 years from October 4th, 2020 or 2019 is October 4th, 2026. So, if you want to know the day that Putin's nukes are going to land, are going to attack and blow up the world, the best I can tell you is it's, I believe, 95% chance going to happen in October of 2026. So about 6 months. 6 months from now, roughly. Okay? It's possible it could happen a month earlier, could happen a month later. But according to the timeline that we are given to the best of our abilities, which does have a little bit of wiggle room for whatever reason, it does appear to be about 7 years, give or take a week, to the day, which would mean October 2026, probably early October. I'm guessing around October 10th. And that's the deal. And so now you know. And then 5 months from that is when Jesus' mothership, New Jerusalem, will descend from heaven, from space, and hover over Jerusalem. And everybody will see it and know that God is real and heaven is here. And that's where all the good people go. And the bad people, they stay here because fuck you, you're not invited to the after party. So, 5 months after October would be what? November, December, January, February, March. So March. So the day that you can expect New Jerusalem to arrive would be in March 2027, which, as we know, the CIA knows is happening in 2027. They know. They probably know it's going to happen in March 2027 too. They have been talking to these preachy aliens for a long time now, ever since the 40s in Roswell, New Mexico, when one crashed and one survived. So that's the deal. I know it was a long episode, but I think you can agree that if you made it through all the way, you definitely 100% learned some shit that's going to come in very important for you. And with that, I bid you adieu. Adios, muchachos. And remember, you never have as much time as you thought you did. So, why wait? Do better now. Fuck tomorrow. Now.
Like, subscribe, submit.